Today we're going to paint this Guardian of the Cemetery. This graveyard cat painting is number 26 in my Canvas and Cheers catalog and the 4th painting in my Halloween series. Let's start by painting the background. I'm diluting black paint with a little bit of water and painting around the moon and the trees. Between the fence posts and on either side of the walkway. Since the majority of the painting is going to be black, let's let this dry for now and move on to paint the moon. The moon is painted with diluted yellow for the first coat. I'm mixing yellow acrylic paint with a small amount of white paint and a small amount of water. Since the paint is diluted, you can paint over the branches, cobwebs, and spider, which will be painted black later. And you should still be able to see them. Use the same diluted yellow paint for the walkway up until slightly behind the fence door. Right now I'm making a light yellow-green by mixing a little blue acrylic paint with the diluted yellow. I'll use this to paint the area around the moon later. But first, I'm going to use diluted white paint so that the yellow-green color will show up better in the background. While the background dries, paint the fence post black. You can dilute it with a little water so that it spreads better. But make sure it's darker than the sky. You don't want the fence post to blend into the background. While the fence is drying, go back and add the yellow-green paint to the areas around the moon. Gradually add more diluted yellow to the yellow-green as you keep going around the moon. Normally for the second coat I tell you not to dilute the paint, but since we're going for a glowing effect, add a little water to your paint when painting the areas around the moon. Use a wide, soft brush for blending. Go over the moon with a second coat of diluted yellow. Be careful not to cover any of the images that overlap it in the center. If you happen to cover them, make sure you can still see them through the yellow paint. Use this yellow paint to paint inside of the light post attached to the fence. This will show that the light is shining through. While the light post is drying, you can paint the fence post with another coat of black. Paint the cat sitting on the fence black. Also paint the trees and branches that hang in front of the moon black. Create a black border along the edges of the canvas. Blend the black border going towards the moon. You want some of the yellow streaks to peek through the black background. You can use a thin brush or dip the brush handle into white paint to create stars in the glow of the moon. Another method is to use a wet brush, not dripping, that's been dipped into white paint and hit it against another brush or against your finger to create a splatter effect that looks like stars in the distance. If you choose this method, make sure to cover the areas that you don't want the splatter to touch. Use a thin brush dipped in white paint to create highlights on the fence and the cat. Use a thin black brush to paint the spider and its web. If you're like me and don't have a steady hand, use a permanent marker or black pen to get thinner, straighter lines for the spider web. Touch up any areas that need fixing. And now you have a cat sitting on the fence post of a graveyard. Since this painting is mostly black, paint each section similarly to how I painted in the video so you don't confuse yourself. Use a thinner brush when handling small areas or for painting details. Use a larger brush to paint the larger areas and for blending. If you haven't yet purchased this kit, check out the description below for the links. Stay tuned for the 5th painting in my Halloween series. See you soon!